Hi guys, Alan Taddei here on behalf of Send It KARTING News Magazine with our announcement that I know many of you have been waiting for to find out where we're going. So let's have a look at where we've been and then we'll have a look at where we're going with the magazine. So it's basically been an online subscription model. It's £30 for 10 issues, just £3 a month, and that enables you to view the magazine online. And it's been coming out, we've had 4 issues coming out monthly. From tomorrow we have a new model. We've really changed. There's a couple of major changes. The first one is that we're going to be releasing regular updates of the edit so far. So for example, tomorrow we've got the first draft release, which will be, there's about 60 pages in this one, not least because we've got 16 pages of a race report about Super 1. I think you guys will like that, gone into real detail in all the races, a lot more detail than you'd normally see for a sort of club race report, but I hope you'll like it. Jake Sanson has got an absolutely brilliant article on the top 50 fake racing drivers, the top 50 fake racing drivers from the movies of all time. It's brilliant, apart from the fact he's got Cole Trickle ahead of Frank Capua. So that's Tom Cruise ahead of Paul Newman. That's just wrong. Sorry, Jake, but that's just wrong. Absolutely wrong. You've got McQueen who's further back as well. I don't know what was going on in Jake's mind there, but it is honestly, you will love reading that article. 23 pages with pictures and all sorts of stuff. Really, really good. We've got a couple of driver profiles as well. Alfie Gallagher's column is back. And we've got other things that are developing over the next few days. I've had things in. We've got a little bit of a driver profile there on the Philippine wonder kid, Axel Nocom. Is he coming to Britain next year to take part in Super 1 in Mini Rock? Is he going to come and take on the Mini Rock big dogs in the UK? That's what I want to know. I think we all want to know that. And we want to know that from you, Axel, to be honest, because if you're not coming to the UK to compete against the big dogs, how good are you really? I know out in the Philippines you're a front runner, but you've got to come to the UK and handle the pressure that the British drivers will put on you. But it's a nice little article about Axel, 1 page, very brief, but obviously he's a young man that's going places out in the Philippines. But we want to see him here in 2021 racing in Super 1, and we hope that he makes that trip. So there you go. So that's what we've got so far, that I've worked on about 60 odd pages I think so far already of the magazine, and we will be trimming the magazine to the last one, which I have a copy of here. You may have seen this in the last video that we did. Very high quality, these magazines. They're not like typical magazines. Those of you who have bought them, thank you for your feedback. I know you're all very happy with the quality of it. It basically is a book. It's not really a magazine, it's a quality of a book with a really thick 350 GSM cover, which has got a super glossy laminate finish, and then 130 GSM pages, really thick pages, really thick card cover. So it's more of a book than a magazine. And of course what we've been doing alongside the online subscription is we've only been ordering 15 or 20 of these to sell. Consequently, if you order 15 or 20 of anything in publishing, whatever you're printing, even if it's 1 page, it's not like you're ordering 5,000 copies and getting the sort of discount that you would expect. If you're ordering 15, 20 copies, they're really expensive. This particular magazine, by the way, this last issue was 172 pages. It weighs about 3/4 of a kilo. They normally weigh, the issues 1 to 3 was around about 100 pages each, and they weigh just under half a kilo in weight. So to send these out, because they were £20, I was having to send them out, getting a signature. They were around about £5 with postage and packing to send out. So consequently, we've been selling them as keepsake versions, because I know people were asking about that. You know, they want something in print that they can sort of keep and look back on, particularly those of you that are in the magazines with driver profiles and so on and so forth. But that's what we've been doing. Online subscription with a chance to buy a keepsake copy. But we know that the feedback is that you love these so much, you'd really like to see printed versions, and for us to change the model. Now, the cost of doing it, I've been working hard to try and get the price at the round about the sort of level I would like to see to make the cost what I would like to make it. I've not quite managed that, but I have managed to come up with something that will reduce the price of the book rather than the magazine significantly, albeit that it is still quite expensive. But I hope you'll live with us while we try and develop the magazine. If we're going to keep the thing going in print, we need you guys to support it. We need you guys to, you know, buy it, subscribe online, so you can keep up to date with what's going on as we release up-to-date copies. So tomorrow we're releasing the first edit of issue 5. This is issue 4 that was out just 10 days ago. Issue 5 is out tomorrow online, so you'll have the Super 1 report and Jake's top 50 fake racing drivers and a few other bits and pieces in there, and then we'll be developing that over the next 3 weeks or so until we finish the magazine. Then that goes off to print, and then the next issue will again, after about a week, 10 days, that will then go online as well. So the reason we're doing that is because we want to try and keep the content fresh. So if a club sends in a race report on a Monday after the Sunday, if I get it on the Monday, the plan is to have that in the magazine and online on the Tuesday. So if you've raced on the Sunday, rather than wait a whole month for the magazine, is to be able to read your race report that the club have sent in, assuming they send it in that quickly. But as soon as they do, we'll get it in the magazine, get it online for you, so you haven't got to wait a month for it. If you had a win that weekend, you want to see yourself online, and then once you've seen it, you'll know then whether that's a copy that you want to buy, and hopefully you will. So that's where we're going with that. Obviously it's important for clubs to be sending in the race reports, because we know you guys, that's one of the things that will be the driver for the magazine, and the online subscriptions will be the race reports going in. So I know a lot of the clubs have said, yeah, we're definitely going to be sending in race reports. We sent them out banners. We've still got clubs that haven't been in touch with us, so we've not sent banners. But if you want a banner, send it Karting News Magazine banner, basically telling people the race report's going to be in the magazine. Then just all you need to do is get in touch with me. You can give me a ring or contact me by email or via Facebook message, anything you like, and I'll send a banner out for you. It's absolutely free. Now, in terms of the printed versions, what are we doing? This is the big announcement basically. Okay, so what we're doing is this. We're going to be printing more of them. We're still not printing the likes of 5,000 copies because the cost would just be crippling, quite honestly. We just could not look to put that sort of money into something before it's sold. Now, ultimately, the more we can sell, that will drive the price ultimately down. But we're not, you know, as a sport, we're not Formula One. We don't have tens of thousands of followers worldwide and a magazine that can sell tens of thousands of copies worldwide. We're not, you know, any number of sports. We're not football with millions of followers. It's karting, and we have to accept that we're in a cottage industry effectively in terms of the number of people in it that have got licenses are down to around about 2,600. All right, you've got probably as many, if not more than that, doing independent kart racing these days, and that as a model is thriving. Successful first event at Hooton Park, 105 I think was the final number. In fact, I think I said 102 in the magazine. 105 was the final number, and it was good to see Super 1 back last weekend. I thought it was a great event. Race reports in this magazine be online tomorrow for you. 130 something, I think it was 135 maybe, took part. I know they had over 200 subscribers, or I say subscribers, I'm thinking magazine now, registrations. But of course we know that it's been a difficult time for everybody, including me particularly, in fact, and Jake. We've had a tough time in the last few months without any work, and that's the same for a lot of you out there. So, you know, if you do support the magazine, you do subscribe, we really appreciate it, because we accept that, you know, it's not an easy time for everybody, but if you do support us, we do appreciate it, and it enables us to sort of go to the next level. And the next level is this, as far as the magazine is concerned, the printed version. Now what we want to do, the plan is to keep this sort of quality. So we want to keep this sort of super glossy cover with this sort of 350 gram thickness, the thick paper. Now it may well be, because of the way this works, the problem with this is you can't really, if you're out trying to sell it in a paddock and somebody says, let me just have a quick look, I just want to have a flick through, as you might do with a magazine in a shop, for example, before you buy it. The problem is, it's difficult to do that. You get your fingerprints on it. If you bend the sleeve back or the cover back, then it's got a crease in it. It's not something you can then sell. So, you know, we're looking at I'm looking at maybe making the front cover slightly thinner, still keeping the super glossy cover, but making it slightly thinner so you can sort of open it up and have a look through and not sort of, if you like, damage it, so that, you know, that's not a sort of one, because you'd want to do that and then to buy the one that's not been opened. But the plan is to keep this sort of quality. It's always going to be a very high quality item. From this next issue onwards, we can't do it for the previous issues because obviously we only bought 15 to 20 copies. From the next issue onwards, which will be out in print at the end of the month, and it will be online from tomorrow, the first, you know, edit of it, it's going to be a cover price. I was trying to get it at the sort of price you might expect to see magazines at maybe $6.99, $7.99. It's going to have to be $9.99. I thought I could work with my printer and get them to do it the right price. They're just not. I mean, particularly with, you know, everybody's in the same boat at the moment, and they're no different. So it's going to be $9.99 for the number of issues that we're going to be buying and selling in print. However, online we are doing it. If you are a subscriber online, you'll notice when you go on and to look at the online version, you will have noticed two prices. One says single issue copy, and that was £20. And basically that was so that you can click on that, and if you clicked on that, you would not only get access to view that issue, but the £20 would cover the cost of the magazine. So this month you'll see something slightly different. You also then saw alongside that the £30 for 10 issues. And thank you to everybody that's subscribed to it so far. But we need a lot more people supporting it moving forward. This from tomorrow, you will see a completely different price model. It's still £30 for the 10 online issues, and if you just want to view it online, that's fine. But you will now see the price for the single issue copy, which allows you just to look at that individual copy, at what is the equivalent of $6.99 plus £1.50 postage and packaging. Postage and packaging. The reason the postage and packaging is £1.50 is obviously it's a magazine, and not least the fact that 100 pages, and we're going to have to now keep it at 100 pages. We can't allow it to go up to 120, 130 because it affects the price, the cost price of buying the printed version. So at 100 pages, we're going to have to trim that there. It weighs, as I said before, just under half a kilo in weight. So £1.50 actually doesn't cover the postage costs. I'm thinking about getting some sort of mail mark machine to try and trim the price, but you know, we've been sending them out in a cardboard sort of cover. If it's 20 quid, you pretty much have to do that because it's got to get there in mint condition. We'll probably go back to a sort of vinyl sort of sleeve that we put them in for sending them out at that sort of price. So it will be £8.49. So you'll see now two prices: £30 for the online subscription, and please subscribe to that, because what that does, it allows you as we update the magazine every week, twice a week probably, there's going to be updates. It might be even daily at some points, where we get a couple of race reports in, then we get another 2 or 3 race reports in another day. We'll be updating it online daily, because we want those race reports in from the clubs. Try and get them into us, guys, as early as you can, because the earlier you get them into us, the quicker I'll put them in the magazine, quicker I'll get them online for everybody to read. And I think that's what people want. They want, it's a bit like the live stream thing, they want the instant gratification. They want Gran and Grandad to be able to see it. And if you're driving in a meeting, not televised, and let's face it, most of them aren't, it's nice to be able to read about your meeting a couple of days later. So if the clubs do the race report on the Monday, get them off to me Monday night. I will do my best to get them in Tuesday. I will expect to have them in Tuesday to be online Tuesday evening, Wednesday at the latest. Depends on my sort of workflow, but at the moment that's the plan. So the 2 prices will be £30 for the 10 issues, or £8.49 for a single issue copy. So you can pay £8.49 if you're not a subscriber. You can pay £8.49 if you want to look at that one issue. However, if you're already a subscriber and you've paid £30 for your 10 issues, you can obviously go on and read it within that subscription price. If you then decide when you've read it, that race report features me or features my son, you can then pay for the single issue copy. You won't need that to watch it, look at it online, because you've obviously got the subscription. But if you then pay for the single issue copy, what you are actually doing is then buying a copy of the magazine or book, as we're calling it. So the Send It Karting News Magazine book, that's what you would be doing if you're an existing subscriber. So if you've already signed up at £30 for 10 months and then you like it so much you go and buy a single issue copy, you're basically buying a copy of the magazine for £8.49, and you will get the copy sent by post when it comes in. Now, if you're not an existing subscriber and you just buy the single issue copy, you can read it online. You won't get a copy through the post. You're only signing up to look at it online. However, if you like it and think, right, I'm featured in that, or my son's got a feature in it, or he's got a profile in it, because we're updating it regularly, you'll be able to see that as soon as it's out online. But if you then like it and want a copy of the magazine, you can do it in reverse. You can buy the single issue and look at it online. If you then think, yeah, I'd like a copy of that, rather than then go and buy a copy for £9.99, either from the kart clubs that stock it, from the kids that might run around the paddock with copies, we'll talk about that in a second, making some pocket money, you can then just subscribe for the 10 months. So doing it, not subscribing and then buying the single issue. So if you look at the single issue, like it, and then subscribe for the 10 months, the single issue will then effectively, you'll qualify to get it through the post. If that all, hopefully this all makes sense. It makes sense to me, but hours and hours I've been working on how best to do it. So this is the scheme I've come up with. So if you're an existing subscriber, and you go online, you look at tomorrow's, for example, a lot of you will be subscribers, and you'll go online tomorrow evening when it goes live. You'll look at, maybe this, you might be a Super 1 driver. You'll look at the race report, think, yeah, I feature in that quite heavily, and I've tried to be as detailed as much as I can. I'd like a copy of the actual magazine. You can, if you're already a subscriber, you can buy the single issue copy. You can buy it for £8.49, and then we will automatically then send you one, because you're already a subscriber. Send you the physical copy when it's printed. So just to clarify, if you can do it in reverse. So if you just want to look at the single issue just to see what it's like, and then you don't want a copy of the magazine, or you just want to save yourself a few, it's not really, it doesn't make sense just to spend the £8.49 to see the single issue online and then spend £9.99 on the magazine, the printed version. You're probably better off spending the 30 quid for the 10 issues, and then that £8.49 you've just spent is automatically, we're going to send you, when we see you subscribe as well, then you'll be on the list to get the free copy. Hopefully this all makes sense. It makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense, give me a call. You know, guys, I'm on the phone. I am constantly available. You know, the days of, I remember the days when the old TV guys would, you could not get hold of the guy that did the TV programs. It was difficult to get hold of anybody. You can, everybody knows you can ring me, you can email me, you can message me. People message me at 2:30 in the morning, and they're sometimes surprised when they get an instant answer, because believe me, some of the I am up to all sorts of crazy times. But listen, just, you know, don't ring me to give me any of your abuse. Plenty of people do that online. If you want to give me abuse by, you know, Facebook or whatever. I've got big shoulders, I can deal with it, and you know that I'll give it back if I think you're you know, you've been a little bit unfair. But if you want to speak to me about something, if you know, even if, for example, and it will happen in the magazine, if we spelt your son's name wrong or your daughter's name wrong, tell me, because I want to get it right. I want it to be right for you. I don't want to print something that you, I mean, if it's already printed, nothing we can do about it. But with the online versions, if you know, if an update comes out tomorrow, and you know, well, you've got my my name, you know, his name's not right, his name's actually spelt this, and it may be that the name was spelt on the timesheet. That's where we take them from. But also, maybe there's a typo. Maybe I've typed it wrong, and I've just, you know, didn't realise that the spelling was this or that. And worse still, and we've done this before in commentary, you know, if your son is named Sam, and I've just for some inexplicable reason thought it was a girl, you know, and I try and check these things. You know, my son's name's Stevie. It's a boy's name and a girl's name. Sam is a boy's name and a girl's name, for example. So if, God forbid, I've got it wrong, the beauty about, you know, subscribing and being a subscriber online, if I've done something like that, that's, you know, unforgivable if that goes out in a printed copy. So I don't want to do that to anybody. You know, it's the worst thing. If I say a girl is, you know, he, and it should have been she, or she and it should have been he. So just let me know, guys, if we get something wrong. You know, trying to keep the abuse level down, but, you know, let me know and I can put it right, and I'll put it right. And something like that, I would, as soon as you say you've called my son a girl, or you said it's a she and it's a he, believe me, if that's 2:30 in the morning, I am immediately accessing the magazine. I'm doing it. I'm saving it out as a PDF. I'm uploading it to Flipsnack. It will take me about 35 minutes, 45 minutes to do that. I'm doing that at 2:30 in the morning. I'm not sitting there thinking, or lying in bed thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Something like that, which is, you know, an absolute no-no for me. I hate stuff like that, getting things wrong like that. Let me know as soon as you can. I'll get it done as soon as I can. All right. If I'm out in town somewhere or I'm doing something else, I might not be able to do it straight away. But believe me, something like that, you send me an email like that, my mind is doing nothing but putting that right for you. So just let me know if we've got something wrong. If it's a spelling mistake of your name, that might be something that I'll do and I'll update straight away, but it'll be on tomorrow night's upload, something like that. So if it's a spelling mistake of your name, that's not a complete and utter disaster, you'll appreciate. Now, if we spelt your name wrong, let me know and we'll update that. In terms of the actual content, you know, we don't want to get involved in re-editing stuff. It's just, and that would be an absolute nightmare. So that's where we are, guys. Now, as I say, we're trying to go with the same high quality. It will be the same high quality sort of version of this. Whether I make the cover slightly thinner, it'll still be the super glossy cover though. $9.99. It's not the price point I wanted to get to, but who knows, in a year maybe we'll get there, in 2 years maybe we'll never get there, but $8.49 is really the point if you want to buy online. But we've got to make sure that people that might, you know, if there's any kids out there, by the way, that want to take half a dozen copies, 10 copies, there will be a bit of a trade price, because we've got to sell to clubs and we've got to sell to, you know, perhaps some traders might want to stock the magazine. Get in touch with me personally. You can phone me, you can message me, you can email me, get in touch with me, and I'll work out a trade price so that the kids can make some pocket money out of it. The first somebody gets in touch and they want to take a certain number of magazines, and I don't want people to get stuck with them. So the first time, if you just want to take half a dozen, see how it goes, and hopefully, I mean, if you can't sell half a dozen of these magazines wandering around the paddock and making yourself some pocket money, there's something seriously wrong with the people in the sport if they see a magazine, particularly if they're featured in it, because we've got plenty of drivers in this issue, for example, 45 drivers. I've not got that many magazines to sell, but we've still got, I think, sort of 5 or 6 left. I think I've bought 25. I've given some, I've sent some out to clubs. Some be sold. I think, I can't remember exactly how many we've got left, 5 or 6, something like that. But there's more people in the magazine that can actually buy the physical copy, because we didn't buy many of these. If there's a race report and you're in it and you don't buy a copy that you can sort of stick in your cupboard for and watch it, but I was just watching some of my, or reading some of my son's old magazine articles the other day. It's forever, guys. It's there forever for your grandkids to look at, that you were racing when you were 10 years old, and the thing can sit there for 50, 60, 70 years, 100 years. Who knows how long people are going to live in the future. If you can't wander around with a magazine, the thing about these, even at £10, it's, I know it's a price that, you know, it's on the limit of where you think it might be value, but believe me, when you see it, when you get to feel it, and the weight of it, I mean, this one, like I say, this one's about 3/4 of a kilo. They're normally just under half a kilo in weight. When you see it, you'll understand what we're dealing with in terms of the quality. So, okay, if you're interested in having some copies, you've got some kids, you might have a daughter that's, you know, your son's racing, your daughter don't do anything, but she's got some friends, they want to wander around the paddock. They should be quite easy to sell around the paddock. And don't forget, guys, if you've got kids wandering around with them, you're helping us at the magazine get established, and you'll be helping the kids, because they will make some money out of it and make some, hopefully, decent pocket money. I mean, I can think if somebody was selling 15, 20 copies, they could make some decent pocket money out of it for wandering around for a day or two. So that's where we're going with that. As I say, we're not ordering 5,000 copies. You know, we're keeping the printing reasonable. It's in the hundreds though, and I'm actually expecting to lose money on it the first few months, but we really need the clubs, trade, to get behind it. And as for the trade, the sort of third element is that we have reduced the advertising costs. So to advertise in the magazine for a full page, take a full page in the magazine is £150, was £250, it's now £150. We're doing this for a period of 6 months, by the way, so it's going to be the next 6 months, going to be £150, £100 for a half page. It's going to be 10% off if you pay up front for 5 issues, and 30% off if you pay up front for 10 issues. So 10 issues, if you're having a full page, would be basically the equivalent of £105 equivalent per page. So hopefully, if you're in the trade, if you're a supplier of any sort of engines, obviously Rotax, Talco, I've sort of asked them for support. Listen, I understand it's a difficult time. It's not just a difficult time for the likes of me and Jake, it's been a difficult time for all of you, so I understand if you can't afford it. If you've got any questions for me on the advertising, anything like that, let me know. Give me a ring, message me, email me. If you've got any questions whatsoever, get in touch. And if you do want to take half a dozen copies, 10 copies, and sell them around your local paddock, now it's difficult if the club are going to take, and we have sent stuff out up to clubs, so if the clubs take copies, I'd expect the clubs to be doing it. So what I will say is, if you say to me, You know, we race at X circuit, we take 10 copies. I'll send you the 10 copies. If the club then get in touch with me, I'll say, well, bear in mind you have got a couple of kids that will be floating around in the paddock. But you know, it's basically a first come first serve. So basically what I guess I'm looking for, we're looking for somebody at each club at least to take a number of copies. It can be half a dozen, that's the sort of minimum. I'm hoping sort of 10 is the minimum, but half a dozen maybe to begin with, just to make sure. I don't want you to get stuck with them, although I would do some sort of deal with you on a sort of salary return basis on the first number of magazines that you take, if you want to do something like that. But whoever comes in first to me, we want to try and be covering every club, so that we've got, you know, kids, or it can be adults if you want to do it, but basically if you've got kids that can wander around with the magazines, would you like a magazine? And bear in mind the kids are earning some pocket money out of it as well, guys. If you do buy it as part of your subscription online, as I explained earlier, it's slightly cheaper. It's $8.49 including the postage, and as I say, the postage takes into account, it is, with this one particularly, it was about £4.60 I was spending on the postage. I'm changing the way we do the post. We're charging $1.50. That frankly won't cover the cost of the postage, but we're doing $6.99 plus one, but it makes it $8.49 if you are an online subscriber and then buy the single issue, or you can buy the magazine via our online store. That's at $9.99 if you just want to buy a print copy and you're not interested in looking at it online. If you're a driver in the sport, obviously keep sending in your images. You know, a driver in the race suit just taken against a plain wall. You can take it with your phone, try and keep the phone steady so it's in focus, because I've had plenty of stuff that comes in and I think it's not even in focus. So it's got to be nice and crisp. You get professional photos from the professional photographer, make sure they're happy for us to use them. Buy your photos, guys, off the photographers. If a photographer's got 10 photos of you and they're charging £3.50, £5, £10 a photo, you might think all they're doing is just snapping an image and then saving it to their computer and then throwing it online, and they're just selling it for £3.50 each, or a tenner each, or £12 each. That's not what they do. They take it into Lightroom, they play with it, they grade the colours. There's a whole load of work in it, guys. A photographer's standing the pouring down rain. I'll say the same about me and my cameraman. You know, we're out there in all sorts of weathers trying to, you know, bring you the sort of production value that we do when we're filming. The same can be said of the photographers. They're out there in the pouring rain. They're out there taking pictures. I was speaking to Doug Hounslow at Houghton Park last week. 2,500 pictures he took at Houghton Park, and that's the sort of thing. I mean, Stu Stretton, for example, at Super One last week, sent me some fantastic photos. I mean, I appreciate more than any. I only have to look at something and I know that's been graded. There's some work gone into that. It's not just been snapped and thrown online. And goodness knows, I must find out from Stu how many photos he took at that meeting, because he literally, any time I wanted the winner, because I wanted to put their picture in, he sent me a load of pictures. I can't remember how many it was, but 150 pictures. You know, there's something, but if you want more, there's on the line, and he gave me an access to it. Everybody were there. How, I don't even know how he does it, because, and to get, not only get everybody, but get it in the quality he did, that's a remarkable job. So guys, please support the magazine, please support your photographers, because they put a hell of a stint in when they're at the circuit taking your pictures, and you can never have too many photos. I've heard people go, oh, once you've got one, that's it. I never bought anywhere near enough in the past. I wish I'd bought a lot more. I've been trying to get hold of stuff in the past and not been able to do so. So buy the photos from the photographers. Please support the magazine, whether you're a club, a trader, or you're just a driver. Have a read. We've got a fantastic column in there, by the way. If you're a newbie to the sport, you need to buy this magazine to read Gary Chapman's column, because he's had a couple of brilliant columns this month, or last month, or the month we're in now, issue 4 that we've just done. Gary talks about I called it the dark art of Castor and Camber, how to do it and what it does. Believe me, if you're new to the sport, even if you've been in the sport for years, you might not quite understand exactly. If you've never worked in a team, never employed a mechanic, you might not, you know, my son, to be honest, drove around my limitations. He really did. Because a lot of this stuff you might not even know if you've been in the sport a couple of years, but if you're new to the sport, Gary Chapman's column is worth the price of admission, and having it in print where even if you wanted to and go, you know what, I'll even cut that out and put it in a folder so that I've got it there if I can't quite remember. What do you do with that caster again? What does that do? It is a brilliant column by Gary. There's lots of other great people in the sport who, you know, great mechanics who will tell you this stuff, but if you're a dad and lad, what Gary Chapman's doing in his column, believe me, that's worth the price of admission for the magazine alone. And there's other good stuff in there. Like I say, Jake's done a fantastic 23-page article, and then all the race reports. I think when the race reports start coming in, I think that's when you guys will really engage with it. But you know, we're taking a leap of faith in the sport this month. I know how much I'm going to have to outlay at this time. That's difficult, but you know, we've got to take a punt on it and see where we go. Listen guys, if you don't support it, we'll just stick with the online version and we'll have the keepsake copies at 20 quid. But I want to go from where we are at £9.99. I'd like to bring that down over the next 18 months or so. Whether we can or not depends on how many we're selling. But it's up to you guys. If you really want the magazine, I mean, when those of you that have been around as long as me, I just used to subscribe. I can't remember what it was, a subscription. I know it was £3 to buy the magazine back in 2005 because I found some the other day. I think it was that prior to that. So, you know, a tenner these, you know, in 15 years, costs have gone up. So a tenner, all right, I know that's more than you'd pay for a normal magazine, but this isn't a normal magazine with 5,000 issues, you know, being printed every month. It's a cottage industry sport with a very few being printed. So the charge is what it is. I'd love to get it down if I can, but at the end of the day, I know the amount of hours I'm putting into it in terms of the editing. It is crazy long hours. So please support us, support your photographers. Just to tell you that if you've signed up, sent your entry in to be a cadet brand ambassador, you have to be, by the way, you've got to be subscribing to the magazine in the final analysis. We're doing the draw, and it's a draw. We're not choosing people. We're just going to draw. You've got to be a cadet. We're going to do juniors next year. Seniors will come into it maybe next year as well. But this year we're just sticking with cadets and we're sticking with dad and lad teams. So if you're a dad and lad, that means you can't be working in a team or in part of a team. We want to try and support dads and lads with some, you know, send it paraphernalia, some team wear clothing and bits and pieces like that as best we can. I'm trying to get all sorts of different things. It's been a tough grind, particularly, you know, this is the worst time to try and get people to give you stuff. But I appreciate the guys that have supported it. We're doing the draw on the 26th, but subscribe to the magazine if you're a dad and lad, then go to the TDi-media.com website. You'll see the magazine page. Scroll down to on the Send It magazine page to the bottom. You'll see a form there. Fill the form in, send it to me. You'll be in the draw. We're having literally numbered balls, so everybody's going to have a number. There's going to be numbered balls. You'll see me draw it out live, and that will be the person. And there's going to be half a dozen people that will become brand ambassadors for Send It Karting News magazine. I think that's everything, guys. If I've missed anything, I'll add it in below. Thank you for watching. I know it's a bit of a grind. I tend to talk for England. That's why I do 16-page race reports, because when I'm writing, it's a bit like when I'm speaking. I just keep talking, and when I'm writing these reports, I just keep writing. 16 pages is mental. I've got to try and get it down to 4 pages, but hopefully you'll like the level of detail. That's it, guys. If you're interested in stocking the book, you know, at a kart club of your choice and wandering around and, you know, selling it around the paddock, then get in touch with me by messenger, by phone. Phone's easiest. I'm always happy to pick the phone up. and I'm always up till midnight, guys. As a minimum, I'm usually up till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I'm up at 8 or 9 in the morning starting working again. So if you want to call me, I mean, and people have tested me on this, by the way. One bloke called me one day at 5 to 12, and he went, "Oh, you do answer at 5 to 12 then?" I said, "What, you just tested me?" He said, "Yeah, what?" He said, "Yeah, I was." He said, "I don't want to answer you something, but I thought I'd just test, see if you're awake." He said, "And obviously you are awake, because I think if you were sleepy, I'd sort of detect it in your voice." So people have tested me. If you want to test me, call me at 5 to 12. I'll answer the phone. So call me, message me. I'm not keen on Messenger because I don't seem to get all the messages for some reason. Sometimes I see messages 2 weeks later for some reason, and it seems like I'm ignorant because I haven't answered it. That's it for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Please support us with an advert, buying the magazine, get an online subscription. We really do need your support if we're going to make this successful moving forward. And when you see me in the paddock wandering around, come and say hi.